Hello, friend. My name is Asindra, and today I'm going to continue playing for you Trolls Fairytale by S.K.Y Art and Design with Friend.
Hello again.
So, last time we left off with the the troll Acacia was going to make pastries, I think, for the prince to show off, or
Yeah.
and it was going to be day 4.
So essentially, the prince was a bit of a douchebag,
Yeah.
and then it turns out the prince was actually kind of like, yeah, well, she's kind of alright.
Yeah.
And so now she's all like, oh, I'm gonna bake something nice for the prince because he was okay.
Yeah. So, after getting some rest, I felt hyped and ready to face the day. I left the house early in order to get started on my thank you gift for Damine. I made sure to drag Alakwa along with me so she could handle the clientele while I focused on this. While I was working, I heard a familiar voice talking up front. My heart did a small flip as I wiped the flour off my hands and peeked around the corner to see who it was. My heart then took a dive as I saw Damine standing there with a girl who had her arm casually interlocked with his. I could feel my mood turn sour as I watched them sit and flirt so openly.
Acacia, can you make me two of today's special?
After hearing my name called, Damine turned his attention towards me.
Hey, look who's up bright and early.
Hang on a second.
Mm.
This one. There. Giving him a grunt in response, I returned to the back after reciprocating the stink eye the girl next to him was giving me. A little while later, I handed their dishes to Alakwa to hand to them, but she returned shortly after with one of the dishes in her hand.
Did you do something to get on the prince's bad side?
I mean, besides punching him in the face.
Doesn't she like punched him twice now?
Yeah. Looking over at her baffled, I shook my head no.
Well, he's saying that he's not going to take the dish, nor pay for it if you don't come out and give it to him yourself.
With a bitter laugh, I turned back around and went back to work. Tell him I said I'm busy and I don't have time playing around with an idiotic prince of players like him. I could hear my sister mutter something under her breath as she went to deliver the message to him. A few moments later, she came back around with the plate still in her hand.
He said that you'll be even more busy trying to clean up your shop's reputation if you don't come out here right now. What's he talking about, sis? Is he going to spread rumors about us?
Finally, I started to get fed up, so I threw my towel down on the table and poked my head to see where he was. There he was, resting his head on one hand with a smug look on his face. The girl was chattering on about something as if she didn't realize that she was being totally ignored. Wrinkling up my nose, I rolled my eyes and called my sister over to me. You tell him that his childish threats don't scare me, and that if he knows what's good for him, he better leave me alone. Or else.
Or else what?
He's smart enough that he should be able to figure out the rest.
I really don't think you should be provoking.
Clicking my tongue to my teeth, I covered her mouth with my hand and nodded her head up and down. All you have to do is what Big Sister says. Don't worry about that idiot's stupid threats. Still, with a concerned look in her eyes, she left back out the kitchen to deliver my message to him. After waiting for some time, I relaxed a little, figuring he finally got the hint. Or he's right behind you.
Yeah, he's just gonna, sneak in. Or else?
Jumping at the sudden sound of a deep voice, I whirled around to see Damine sitting on one of the stools, blocking my only exit.
Would it really have been too much to ask you to hand deliver the dish yourself?
I made the food with my own 2 hands. That should be enough.
Well, it's not. I want more.
I felt my heart do a small black flip at his childish words. Don't be stupid. Why are you trying to make my life difficult? All you have to do is sit back, eat your food, pay for it, and then leave.
You're always in such a bad mood.
That's only with you.
Ouch.
With feigned hurt, he put his hand to his chest again. I had to stop myself from gawking at him like I did before, so instead I rolled my eyes and turned to put some more distance between us. Just as I was walking away, I felt a strong hand grab my forearm, stopping me. What is with him always grabbing her?
Why?
Why does everybody always grab her? Personal
So
space.
mean.
Jesus Christ.
Oh.
I turned around and looked back at him, keeping a stern look on my face. He gently pulled me closer towards him, and I felt his minty breath brush past my face. Okay, that's way too close. His icy silver eyes stared intensely into mine.
You keep running away from me.
There was nothing I could really say. It was like his eyes had a hypnotic effect on me whenever I gazed into him. I quickly snapped back to my senses, a slow smirk shaping his lips, as if he knew what I was thinking. Snatching my arm away with a shake, I tried to pull myself back together. I run away because you get on my nerves. Lifting his arms, he confidently rested them on my shoulders. I stood there frozen with shock that he would actually have the gall enough to do something so bold.
You know, you're the first girl to ever reject me. And so vehemently at that.
His voice dropped to a whisper as his eyes continued to study my face. What exactly was he trying to find staring at my face like that? Wow. Just wow. Your ego is seriously second to none. Standing there while only giving me his signature smirk in return, I felt his thumb lightly caress along the back of my neck.
It's not that I have a big ego, just a lot of confidence.
He's compensating.
He's compensating for a lot. That's
Just-
why he keeps touching her.
Yeah. Just as a small chill shot down my spine, I quickly shoved him away and stepped back away to put some more distance between us. Why do you keep touching me?
Finally, she addresses the problem. I could ask myself the same question.
Excuse me? I wasn't expecting that to be his answer. I don't like being messed around with, so get out and go back to your little girlfriend out there.
She's not my girlfriend.
Yeah, whatever. I was having a hard time trying to keep calm. I knew that if I kept hanging around him, I would get sucked in like all those other little girls, and I didn't want to be anyone's toy.
Do you want to know why I'm always picking on you?
Even though I was getting fed up with all of this, I was still a bit curious to hear the reason why.
If you come to the castle instead of the meet and greet tonight, then I'll tell you.
I kept my arms crossed in front of me, giving him a puzzled look. He always seems to put looks like that on me. Out of me. You can't be serious. With another mischievous smile, he tossed something to me and left the kitchen.
I'll see you there.
Don't hold your breath. I retorted before he closed the door behind him. Turning the item over in my hand, I unwrapped it to see a beautifully woven hair scarf. Is he making fun of my hair with this? Even though I was annoyed, I was still a little touched by his thoughtful gesture.
It's not really very thoughtful.
Well, it's kind of rude.
Yeah.
I couldn't let myself get hung up on him. A player is only good at one thing, and that's playing the game. With the end of the festival drawing near, it was announced that there would be some new activities to do at the meet and greet tonight. I decided against accepting Damien's arrogant invitation and instead chose to get ready for tonight's special meet and greet.
Why don't you go to the Princess Ball instead? That's like a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
Tugging nervously at my sleeves, I shook my head. I'm already going to be at the palace later this week. Why should I go there ahead of time? I don't want the memory of my first visit to the palace to be because of a cocky invitation from His Highness. I'm sure he'll have plenty of other people to distract him from noticing my absence.
I don't know about that. He seemed pretty interested in you.
Scoffing, I let out a snarky laugh and put my shoes on. He's not only interested in what he can't have, it's the chase that's getting him, not me.
What makes you think it's not actually you?
Because when has it ever been me?
But it could actually be you this time around.
That hadn't actually occurred to me before. What if he was being sincere? My eyes fell on the scarf he had given me earlier. I picked it up and began to closely study it, as if it held the answers to my question. Why would he actually want me?
Why wouldn't he?
I can give you plenty of reasons why he wouldn't.
And I bet I can give you just as many reasons he would.
Grabbing the scarf out of my hand, she helped wrap my hair up in a loose bun.
I think the only way to find out is to see whether he'll get jealous when he sees you talking to other guys.
How's that going to work? He talks to plenty of other girls all the time, and I'm sure he's not the only one those girls are talking to. Why should I be any different? Pushing me out the door, she gave me a few encouraging pats on the shoulders.
You'll never know if you don't try.
Still, trying to make a sense of everything, I slowly made my way to the meet and greet, but not before casting a few looks over in the direction of the prince's castle. This is so stupid. The energy in tonight's air was a lot different than it had been the past couple of nights. New dishes were placed out for everyone to dig into, and some of them were pretty strong entrees, even for a fully grown troll. After a short period of time, some of the stronger trolls, dragons, and fairies started to take part in the tolerance challenge. One of the dishes set out had an ingredient strong enough to knock out a fully grown mountain troll for days. I stood and watched as people passed out from the challenge. Oh my god, what the hell's in that thing?
Oh dear.
One troll seemed to be holding his own, and I caught him sneaking quick glances my way as if making sure I was watching. Even though a lot of my clan's games were rough and barbaric, it's still impressive to see such a showcase of resilience. I've never been one to take nicely to weakness, so I was definitely impressed. I even lingered to try and find out what the outcome would be.
This is his 10th round. That dude's crazy. No, he's just trying to show off for that troll over there.
I felt my face grow hot, but refused to let them know that I had been embarrassed by their silly gossip, even if what they were saying might be true. The longer the game went on, the bolder the one-shy troll became. Instead of giving me shy little glances, he was now cheering along with the crowd and raising his plate of victory towards me. Charming. His drunken display of affection was a little cute, but not really my taste. Before I could get up and leave, another opponent entered and challenged him.
It's Prince Damien!
That got my full attention. I tried to scan the crowd to see if it was true. Settling down in front of this drunken troll, I saw a hard look on Damien's face. What was he doing here? Why was he entering the game? It's a known fact that unicorns can't handle a troll's cooking, so why?
Who do you think will win? I don't know, the troll is already so drunk.
I could feel my heart pounding nervously as the match began. Each man began to eat, one strong dish after another.
This is crazy, he's still going! Oh, they're gonna get food poisoning if they keep on like this.
I watched as Damien's movements became more and more sluggish, and the troll started to look cockeyed and crazy. Finally, with one last dish left, the troll passed out and fell off the table, landing on the ground with a hard thud. The crowd began to cheer wildly, holding Damien's arms up in victory. I shook my head in total disbelief. The man continues to surprise me every day. Just then, something tugged at my arm. Two of the boys that I've seen hanging around Damien stood beside me. One of them I remembered had been talking about me the night before. I scowled as I looked down at them. They must have really been afraid of me too, because they took a small step back. One attempted to clear his throat.
Can you help us?
No. Turning away, I headed back towards my usual spot in the forest, but another tug stopped me. This time there was a hint of urgency in his voice.
Please! We can't take the prince back to the palace like this. His mother will have a fit.
They stood there shaking, keeping a tight grip on my arm. I glanced over at Damien. He was stumbling around, a few girls struggling to steady him underneath his weight. Sighing in annoyance, I shook my hand loose from their grasp. You make sure you tell him he owes me one when he sobers up.
Thank you.
Their eyes sparkled with relief as I moved to Damien and slung his arm over my shoulder.
Wow, she's kind of cool. Scary, but cool.
Smiling to myself, I took him away from the crowd and guided him towards my home. Oh, that's gonna get some whispers, I bet. Also,
it's gonna get many whispers from my mom.
Yeah. Also,
Is she wearing a scarf?
I think her sister put the scarf on her.
Wow. Oh dear.
Kicking open the door, I called for my mother and sister's help. Damien was muttering nonsense under his breath. Quickly, I walked him across the room.
Acacia, what happened?
I killed him. And now we have to bury this mumbling body. Don't worry, he's dead. He's actually dead. It's just kind of taking a while.
Yeah, give him a couple minutes, he'll be out. It's fine.
Hearing my voice, my mother and sister flew to my side. Their eyes widened as they saw whose arm was draped over my shoulder.
Oh my gosh, is that the prince?
Where should I put him?
Hurry up and put him in your room. What happened to that meet and greet?
I'm not quite sure myself. With the help of my mother and sister, I was able to toss Damien down on the bed and remove his shoes and jacket. He flung his arm around, turning over to bury his face in my pillow. Unceremoniously, he hiccuped and began to grumble.
Man, he's really wasted. Alakwa.
My mother glared at my sister, who squeezed her lips shut. I shook my head, not sure what I was supposed to do. Mom, can you keep an eye on him while I head out?
What? Oh, I'm sorry, dear. I have plans tonight.
Cocking my brow at her, I placed a hand on my hip. Plans, huh?
I can help. Ow!
With a jab to the ribs, my mother pulled Alakwa out of the room.
No, I need you to help me with my plans tonight.
Oh, please.
Mom, what are you talking about? You said... Shut up, girl, and move.
After their painfully obvious exit, I took my head inside and headed for the bed. He had flopped over again, but this time his bare chest was exposed and his hair lay in a messy heap on his head. This idiot is totally defenseless. I should draw on his face.
Do it.
I poked his nose while glancing at his eyes while he slept. Go ahead and get some rest, you big dummy. Pulling the blanket out from underneath him, I tucked him in, brushing a few strands of his hair out of his face. I rapped on his forehead with my knuckles to see whether he was really that drunk. He didn't respond. I shrugged and took a seat on the windowsill, deciding to get some rest myself. What time is it? Why am I sitting on the windowsill? As groggy and confused as I was, it took me a while for the past hour's events to return to my mind. The moon was hanging high in the sky, the glow spilling in through the window. On the bed, with his eyes still closed, lay Prince Damien. Thankfully, he hadn't thrown up or choked on his vomit while he slept.
Lucky you.
Yep. Scooting off the windowsill, I stretched a bit to loosen up the muscles that had grown tight. I walked over to the side of the bed, bent down, and poked his cheek a few times to see if he would wake up. Nothing. Sitting at the foot of the bed, I studied his innocent face. Innocent. His eyelashes were extremely long enough to make me jealous that mine weren't as pretty. I felt a strong urge to pull them out one by one, but before I was able to do anything, he stirred in his sleep.
Buttercup, you've got to stop staring at me like that. It's getting embarrassing.
He turned his head, boring his silver eyes into mine. Trying to get rid of the awkward air, I swatted his forehead playfully. If you're sober enough to talk, get out of my bed and go home. I want to get some rest. Pulling the blanket down, he offered a portion of the bed to me, flashing a playful grin.
Nothing's stopping you right now.
I'm sure that line's worked on a lot of other girls too, huh? I could already feel that I was touching on dangerous ground. Why did I care what lines he used to pick up other girls?
Yeah, you're right.
Dropping the covers, he sat up and ran his fingers through his hair. His words stung more than I would have liked. When did I get in so deep as to be affected by his words? Well, if you're feeling good enough to get smart-mouthed with me, you should...
Why didn't you show up to my party?
I was caught off guard. Why this all of a sudden? Getting up off the bed, I tried to find something to distract myself. He slid off the bed, following suit.
Buttercup isn't really the chatty tonight, is she?
I told you, that's not my name. Is it really so hard for you to actually say my name? Do I matter so little that you can't bother with such a small show of respect? I turned around to face him as a flash of guilt crossed his face. The room faded from dark to light, clouds slowly drifting past the moon. If you're feeling so well, why don't you go home? What are you still doing here? He opened his mouth, but I continued without letting him speak. The frustration caused by this weird situation spilled out all at once. Don't you think you're going a little too far? You may think this is a game, but I don't play games very well. If I have something I want to say, I say it. I don't give mixed signals, and if the only reason you're talking to me is that you're getting a kick out of the chase, I suggest you stop. Go find some other idiot to toy around with. My heart hammered in my chest as the words continued to spill out almost of their own accord. What did I ever do to you to be treated like this?
Don't you think you're overreacting a little bit?
He was clearly annoyed as he tried to explain himself.
You say that you don't give mixed signals, but that's all I ever see you do.
What are you... He pulled the scarf out of my hair, causing it to topple down around my face. He held his gift up in front of me.
You don't like being toyed with, but you're going around wearing the stuff I gave you? You ignore me to go make googly eyes with some stupid meet and greet troll?
What are you talking about? Why was he getting so mad? If you didn't want me to wear the scarf, why give it to me in the first place?
Why didn't you come to my party?
Because I stopped. What reason did I have for not going? I shook my head, not knowing what to say. I could feel Demeen's eyes on me. My hands started to get clammy and sweaty. Suddenly it seemed like it was 100 degrees in here. Demeen was very attractive, but it wasn't just his looks causing this. Everything about him screamed danger, the seductive kind of danger. His hair was tousled and messy, even more attractive than usual. Rubbing my temples, I tried to shut off my thoughts. I cannot believe I've actually fallen for him. He's so arrogant and cocky, but something just drew me to him.
You like what you see?
My eyes shot back up at him as another smirk appeared on his face. Don't get your hopes up. There isn't much to look at. Pushing him aside, I tried to head for my door, but Demeen stepped in front of me and blocked the way. We locked gazes. I snapped at him to move, but he stood, looking down at me, not moving 1 inch. You're too close. Move.
Not until you answer my question.
He was so close to me, and the expression in his eyes was making me nervous. I felt myself instinctively take a few steps back. My back bumped up against the dresser. For each step I took away from him, Demeen took one towards me. What is wrong with you? Resting his hands on the dresser behind me, he trapped me between his arms. The smell of cinnamon and spice floated past my nose once again.
Am I making you nervous, Acacia?
My stomach flipped as he whispered my name for the first time. My heart was probably going to pound right through my ribcage. Quit playing with me, you idiot. I narrowed my eyes, trying to regain my composure, but shortly after making eye contact, I had to drop my gaze again. I just couldn't handle the pressure of the intensity his eyes held.
Who says I'm playing?
Scrunching my face, I half laughed, half huffed. Yeah, right.
Look at me.
No, back away, I mean it.
Look at me, Acacia.
As my name slipped through his lips, I met his gaze. There was something in his eyes I couldn't quite make sense of.
Why didn't you show up?
I still couldn't answer his question. Finally, he sighed. The look in his eyes changed, replaced with a smirk.
Doesn't matter anyway. You're not really my type.
I could have told you that from the get-go. Picking up his shoes and jacket, he walked out of my bedroom without looking back. Jerk.